Sri Ramakrishna walked towards the Panchavati with M and few other devotees. It was midday and time for the flood tide in the Ganges. They waited in the Panchavati to see the bore of the tide. Master to the devotees. The ebb tide and flood tide are indeed amazing. But notice one thing. Near the sea, you see ebb tide and flood tide in a river. But far away from the sea, the river flows in one direction only. What does that mean? Try to apply its significance to your spiritual life. Those who live very near to God feel within them the currents of bhakti, bhav, and the like. In the case of a few, the Ishvara Kotis, for instance, one sees even Mahabhav and Prem. To M. What is the explanation of the ebb tide and flood tide? M. According to Western astronomy, they are due to the attraction of the sun and the moon. In order to explain it, M drew figures on the earth and began to show the master the movements of the earth, the sun, and the moon. The master looked at the figures for a minute and said, "Stop, please. It gives me a headache." Presently, the tide came up the Ganges. They heard the sound of the rushing water. The tide struck the bank of the river and flowed toward the north. Sri Ramakrishna looked at it intently and exclaimed like a child, "Look at the boat! I wonder what is going to happen to it." The master and M sat down for a while in the Panchavati, Sri Ramakrishna placing his umbrella on the cement platform. The conversation turned to Narayan. The boy was a student. Sri Ramakrishna looked upon him as Narayana, God himself, and was very fond of him. Master. Have you noticed Naran's nature? Footnote. Naran, short for Narayan, a young disciple of the Master. Footnote ends. He can mix with all, old and young. One cannot do this without a special power. Besides, all love him. Is he really artless? M. I think so. Master. I understand that he goes to your place. Is that so? M. Yes, sir. He has visited me once or twice. Master. Will you give him a rupee? Or shall I ask Kali about it? Footnote. Kali, a devotee of the Master. Footnote ends. M. Very well, sir. I shall give him the money. Master: That's fine. It is good to help those who yearn for God. Thus, one makes good use of one's money. What will you gain by spending everything on your family? Kishori had several children. His salary was too small to support his family. Sri Ramakrishna said to M. Norun said that he would get a job for Kishori. Please remind him of it. The master walked away in the direction of the pine grove. Returning to the Panchavati, he said to M. Please ask someone to spread a mat outside my room. I shall lie down a few minutes. I am coming presently. When the master returned to his room, he could not find his umbrella and exclaimed, You have all forgotten the umbrella. The busybody doesn't see a thing, even when it is very near him. A man went to a friend's house to light the charcoal for his smoke, though all the time he had a lighted lantern in his hand. Another man looked everywhere for his towel. Finally, he discovered that it had been on his shoulder all the time. It was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The master ate the prasad from the Kali temple. Then he wanted to rest a while, but the devotees were still sitting in his room. They were asked to go out, and then master lay down. He said to Baburam, Come here. Sit near me. Baburam answered, I am preparing betel leaf. The master said, Put your betel leaf aside.